My topic. But first, thank you to all the Patreon supporters in June for all your lovely support. Whose name do we have to see in there like 4 times?
Jordan Smith.
Jordan Smith.
We apologize.
Somehow Jordan Smith has been cut out of the last
Jordan
few ones.
Smith, Atlanta Jordan?
Yeah,
Atlanta's
going to put it in
I don't know why.
why.
He's one of the best supporters, but Nick has been
We
systematically
got you on
cutting him
games,
out.
but for some reason, I'm sorry, but I didn't stay on that list, so we'll get you in there about 18 times this time. It's the last 30 names are just going to be
Jordan Smith, Jordan Smith.
Smitty, Jordan Smith. No, I'm just going to push in once. I'll get you in this time.
My topic is pulled from the headlines of Greg's life. First dates. We all know that I'm single.
Ready to mingle.
Sure. Going on.
Single and ready to mingle.
You can be my hype man. You can walk around and say these things. And
Did I get that right?
I guess. I don't know.
That was the saddest woo I've ever heard. It made me like
Ric
cringe.
Flair. Yeah.
Oh no.
Why are you saying who?
Oh, it's woo?
Yeah.
Well,
It's okay. You got time to.
can I try it again?
Yeah.
Woo!
All right, that's better.
Oh no, I mean no, it's still not good. It's better.
How does the hair look when I do it? Woo!
It
I don't
goes
know why
forward
it
and comes
bothers me
back.
so much. It like makes my balls go inside.
Jesus.
That's
My balls have been inside this entire show.
Yeah, I've been doing that since birth.
So I want to know what makes good first dates. I want to hear good first date stories. Tim, what makes a good first date?
First date makes a good first date.
Yeah?
First dates, to have a bad first date, you need to really, really try. You are two people going in wanting to like each other.
Sure.
I think it's one of those things where you're going to have a good time. You're going to be absolutely infatuated with the experience because you're either talking about you a lot or hearing about somebody
You're
new
learning
a lot,
about somebody
right?
brand new.
Either way, you're presenting your best self. You're trying to be funny. You're trying to, you're thinking about every action you're doing. And I think that you stop doing that every date afterward until you get to a point where you don't think at all. And
You're just shitting with the door
You're
open.
just there. Yeah, exactly.
Happened this morning.
That's how we communicate.
There's definitely something special about first dates, but it's funny. And I have a lot of friends who go on a lot of dates, most of them being first dates, most of them being last dates, but those dates kind of, there's no downside to it. It's like even a bad first date is usually still a good experience.
Sure. Good story.
If you really don't like the person, then you're like, all right, cool. I wasted an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is. You know, if it's really, there's very few times I've heard people be like, I like left. I was like not into this. There have been those stories.
I don't know if you've been on enough first dates because I've had plenty of bad first dates.
I'm like I've had a fair amount, and like, but I'm mainly talking about all my friends' experiences.
Right. I've had some bad ones.
But we're not doing that because for the record, we did casual dating on 5/14/14 and worst dates ever on 8/26/14. One of those was the Alexis episode. And you told the one about how you went out with somebody. You're just like, this isn't good. Do you want to go get a drink? You're like, I was like, nah. You just went your separate ways.
And that's happened. I mean, like the worst part of it is when you realize you don't like the person.
So what makes a good first date then?
So what makes a good first date is, well, first ensuring that the person actually wants to be on a date with you, because I've made that mistake.
That's trouble.
Where I'm like, you didn't think this was a date, did
Oh.
you? That's bad.
Well, that's not a first date then.
It is what you thought it was. Like when you ask someone, hey, do you want to go grab dinner with me? And they say, sure, that sounds great.
Yeah. And you get there with the flowers and the candy.
And then you get there and they're like talking about their boyfriend. You're like, oh, I did not clarify. This is my bad. I did not clarify.
No, I was talking about it.
In
Christine
my
and
brain.
I's
Yeah,
first
I'm
date.
talking about something very different.
Christine and I's first date, we went out or whatever, and I took her to she liked desserts, and so we went to Citizen Cake. Remember Citizen Cake closed up now? It's very sad.
R.I.P.
We went down there or whatever, and the check came, and I grabbed it. And she's like, "Oh, you want to split?" I'm like, "No, it's a first date. I'll pay for it." She goes, "Is it?" And I was like, "Oh shit, fuck! I thought we made this clear." And we had this whole conversation. Where she's like, I thought you were joking. I'm like, "Why would I joke about that?" And da, 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 da.
Yeah, people, you have to clarify that first and foremost. And I know that you sometimes think that you have, but sometimes it's not.
No,
I've been on a couple
that's a
first
very,
dates.
very
Yeah.
good point. I take back everything I said. If you're talking about a friend that is now being turned into a
That's a
potentially
huge-
first
that's
date. No, I'm talking about Tinder. I'm talking about you're at a bar and get someone's number.
Sure,
and then
that
you do the
stuff's all
first date.
great, yeah.
Those are first dates, and those flawless. Like I really don't think you can fuck that up unless it's bad, in which case you move on. But still, I
I'll
feel
agree
like
with you on
it's a
that.
fun first date because
Sure.
no matter what, you get to think about where you're going, what you're gonna do. You're constantly thinking about where's this gonna go next. I'm about to get some. About to get my dick sucked.
Jesus.
Or not, right?
You
Maybe not.
escalated so quickly, Tim.
Maybe you guys are just going to talk all night.
That's not quickly escalating, Greg. If you ain't escalating that quickly, you ain't doing it right.
Jesus.
You're not doing it
God,
right.
oh my
This
God.
is, the game only has so many innings, if you know what I mean. And then you fucking die. Sports.
No, you nailed it. You nailed it.
To me, I'm with you on that one, right? So the excitement of meeting someone and being and having that when you've obviously figured out that it is in fact a first date and that person is as excited about going on the date as you is great. I think it's an awesome opportunity to show this person, especially if you're the male and you were the one that did the inviting, who you are and what you like, right? So I took my wife on a first date to this Indian place that I loved down on, I think it was on Folsom. I don't know if it's still there. We haven't not been back because it's laden with carbs. As I literally come,
he's allergic to carbs.
Haven't been back.
They hurt the ice cream scoops
in 5 to 6 years. But it was great. I was like, I asked her one simple question, like, do you like Indian food? She's like, yeah. I'm like, great. I'm gonna take you to my favorite restaurant. And we spent we spent like 3 hours longer there than we had to, just talking and drinking and enjoy like the food. Like you don't even eat really. You're just like kind of trying to whittle away in between sentences. You don't want to be rude, and you're just infatuated with this
all
person
you're
next
thinking
to you.
about is her sucking your dick.
I mean, that's all I ever think about.
I don't understand how you're so much cruder on this show than Love and Sex Stuff. Jesus.
Because Love and Sex Stuff, I have a responsibility.
Yeah, we
This
have
show
all
is
the
Fucking
this show
creepy
I
ass
could just
laugh you did there too.
They both have
That was
creepy ass laughs.
some fucking supervillain
There's
laugh.
only so many innings, then you die. Colin, what makes a good first date?
I don't think I've ever been on a first date. When I was really thinking about this, I don't think that's ever happened. Like
So wait, then how do you count your relation?
So
They just come
I've
over
been
to
in
Colin's dorm room
probably
and they have sex with them.
I've been probably half dozen relationships in my life, like real relationships, and they all. I mean, like my girlfriend in high school, I met when I played hockey. She was a figure skater, so I met her and I knew her.
I like that
So
movie.
Yeah, exactly like that movie.
You know what I'm talking about? The one. What is it? It's the one I'm thinking
Blades
of.
of- Blades of-
No.
Blades of
You
Glory.
nailed it.
Blades of Glory.
And then
Shut up.
it's really not important. And then my girlfriend in college, for most of college, I met when I was a freshman in my freshman dorm, and
I understand that you meet them not on a date,
some
but then
point
you
you
go
went
out with them at some point, right?
those are
I don't
first
remember.
dates, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I already know. Like that nullifies the ability to go on a first date, which is fine with me.
I agree.
And then I dated another girl in college for a little while, and then and so like, for instance, like with Erin, I knew Erin for 13 years when we started dating, so it's like we don't have a first date. Like we go on dates all the time. But I don't think you have that classic like I'm getting to know you first date and stuff. It's like I know her better than almost anyone in this world. So it's like
at some point you said, hey, do you want to like get together?
sure, and we went out and we had a great time. We just went and did it. We do what we do all the time when we go out, which is we go out and we have good food and good drinks and we laugh. And that's like, and I found finally someone who like actually accepts me for who I am, which is really nice.
She's a saint. She should get
Yeah, she sure is.
I was
She
talking
sure is.
about the comedy drama /
Cutting
sport
Edge.
movie, The Cutting Edge.
Topic.
That's what you wanted me to. You wanted
That's
to say
the
topic for me to
famous
jump.
quote from that movie.
I don't
Like, if you
remember the
consider
movie.
yourself a Cutting
I
Edge
don't.
fan, I am a diehard DB Sweeney fan, my friend.
So what I'm saying is like I don't think I've ever been on that classic like I've never like met a girl, given her my number or gotten her number or whatever, and then and then we meet. So I've never not once, never has that happened. And thankfully I'm those days are behind me now. So it's like I think I've gone through my entire life without having done that. But yeah, Erin and my first date was awesome. I mean, we actually went out with her and her cousin, and we had we fucking laughed and laughed. It was an awesome time. But again, I don't consider that the classic first date. I just don't consider that. And I think when I look back at other relationships, I don't think I ever had that classic first date, because when I was in high school or college, I was fucking poor. I wasn't going on dates. And we would hang out at each other's houses or go to the movies or do something like that. But I don't actually remember any of that shit. Like when I actually think
So
back at
funny.
those
I
relationships,
remember
I have no fucking idea what we did.
I remember probably all my first dates. Like I remember the first girl I dated in high school, like seriously dated. We went miniature golfing, and it was me and my buddy was dating her sister.
Your buddy Stu?
No, it was actually my buddy Ryan, who we actually became really good friends because of that. Because he had mentioned that she liked me, and I was like, no, this is actually. I'm gonna take a step back here.
Here we go. Give me a little bit of background.
So going into my junior year, I became drum major, right?
Yeah, you did.
And I believe that was the year where I decided. Sophomore year is when I was assistant drum major. Still had the ponytail. Junior year, my band director was like, "Fine, you can be drum." I had a fight to be drum major. I was clearly the best, but he wanted to keep me on trumpet because I was also clearly the best on trumpet. Well, Clay was better, but it doesn't really matter.
Fuck you, Clay.
Going into that year, I was like, "Fine, I'm gonna get serious about this." I dropped weight and I cut my hair. And coming back into band camp into my junior year, I finally got the attention of one of the drill team girls.
You open the door and it's like that slow motion
It
walk,
was-
and they're all like, "Who's that?"
we were sitting at the table and I was just being my normal goofball self. And then later my buddy Ryan comes up to me, he's like, "Hey, she kind of likes you." And I was like, yeah, she's cool. And he's like, no, she likes you. I was like, oh shit. Like it was that panic
What do I
second where I'm
do?
like, this girl's good looking. And like, in high school, you're like, yeah, you're very superficial. I mean, she was a very nice girl, but I was like, she's hot as hell. And if I date her, that will be dope. So he's like, what do you want to do? I was like, I don't know. I don't even know how to do this. I've never actually done this before. And he's like, I'll tell you what, we're going to get a double date together. and I'll set it all up. Don't worry about it. I know the girls like miniature golfing. You just come along, and that way it's all goofball. No one's good at it. You don't have to be good at it. You don't have to be bad at it. Just have fun. And we went out, and it was a fucking blast. And I ended up dating her for like 8 months.
Oh, nice.
Super sweet girl. Super sweet girl. And then she died.
Why?
Yeah, she's still alive. So it's because I Facebook stalk her. But
How many
yes.
kids?
What's that?
How many kids?
No, I don't actually Facebook stalk her. Can't find her.
You attempted Facebook stalk at least.
You guys are on another level today.
I know, it's fun. I got sleep last night. But that was fun. That was that's like imprinted in my brain. I'm like, that was a great night, right?
Sure.
That was a night where I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen here. I'm just trying to be the best version of myself possible. And she's laughing, and for some reason she keeps looking at me, and I think we're gonna make out, and then we're making out, and I'm like, this is awesome. Of making out. This is the best thing ever. And I'm like, I'm cool with this.
I mean, to the point, I mean, what Tim said and a bit of what Colin was, putting in examples of, like, I agree of what works about a first date, right? And I never meant it as the classic, somebody sliding you a napkin with their number, you've never spoken to them before. The first date you go out with somebody where you are so interested in each other and what their stories and their experiences and what their lives are, because it's all brand new. Yeah. Whereas like you and I go out to dinner now, we just fucking stare at the TV. We got nothing to say to each other.
But I've really never, I guess what I'm saying is like, not that I've just been in, a handful of relationships or whatever, but I guess what I'm saying is like, I've never just gone out with someone I just randomly met. I already knew the person every time. Like, so it's, that's what I'm saying is like, it's just different, like what I'm saying is like, I'm out of that particular game. I've never had that particular experience of being like, I don't really know you. We like each other. And we go out on a date, whether I was in high school or college.
So how do you define how well you know somebody then? Because I've never like just seen somebody at a bar and been like, you want to go out tomorrow or something. I've talked to them. I've known them through friends of friends or whatever.
No, pretty well. I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe it's because I'm a little bit shy in those kind of social situations where I don't know. I guess I don't know. I just don't have that much experience in it. So I
brood in the corner and like, who's that brooding?
Who's that
man
brooding?
listening?
Like when we were at MomoCon, what was it, MomoCon, right? Where we went to that party and Colin like read Dracula on a couch.
That was hilarious.
It was great. It was a great book. I hadn't read it in a while.
There's nothing that makes me happier than the idea of you and Aaron going on dates. We had nice food, drinks, and we just laugh and laugh. Like that vision is just so funny to me.
That's the funny thing about that. Like Aaron and I connect on like this level I've never connected with anyone before. Where it's like, and we did in college, which is so funny. Like we probably should have been dating for a very long time. It's just that the timing never worked out or whatever. Where like she really like makes me laugh like from my gut. And like I make her laugh, like that's like a big piece of our relationship. I think is like our humor, or just like not even when we're actively laughing, when we're just having a genuinely good time with each other. Like it's not like any other relationship I've ever been in, which is why I really want this to be the end of the road, because it's like I don't know, like you always have to kind of try or adjust certain things and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I just don't really feel that way in this this relationship, which is like really nice. Like I'm a fucking weird dude. I know that. I'm not oblivious to it. I'm quirky and like weird shit and like do all sorts of I'm into politics but also music. I like to write, but I also like video games. I like to have someone that like doesn't try to change you but tries to like be with you and understand you and like actually take interest in anything you do at all, which is fucking totally new to me, is exciting, and like really nice. Like I was making the joke on Colin Moriarty live. I like turned to her and like just smiled the other day when we were like, I was on my phone in bed and she was playing Vita. She's playing Foul Play on Vita, and she literally said, "Why would anyone want to play on an iPhone? Like I don't understand why anyone would play on a phone when you can play on one of these." And I looked at her and I'm like,
"Marry me."
I'm like, it's not even important to me that she plays video games. She really doesn't. She's like playing them because she's more into them now. She didn't know what video games really were or how they've adapted until we started dating. But just the fact that she says that about that, I was like, this is so funny, man, because she really means it. That's the other funny thing. And I'm like, this is so funny. Service. So it's just, that's like a different kind of situation for me than I've ever been in before, where it's a much more comfortable situation. So when we go out, I'm not really trying to do anything, like.
Oh sure, that's long gone. Yeah,
that's last date, not first date.
So, what about you and Gia? Where do you count your first date?
So I mean, what's funny about that is we never had one because of that type of situation where it was already like we hooked up like the first day we met. So it was just like, all right, cool. First date goes out the window kind of after that
because we met at the 50 Shades of Grey.
And
Nick ate a hot dog, but not the bun.
The problem is
hot dogs,
the first date that we had was then like, so she is best friends with my best friend's girlfriend, who's also one of my really, really fiance now. One of my really, really, really close friends. So we just ended up hanging out, and then we all hung out after that. So it was like our first date after like meeting was all of us hanging out. We went to get burgers somewhere, and it was just like whatever.
Go Big Jenny
So
Burger.
then like a couple weeks in, then we like kind of
McDonald's.
got. Then it was just like, all right, we're together like that. We had the talk. We DTR to find the relationship.
Nice. How
We
long?
got to do that. I don't remember the timeline.
Sorry, I thought
Things moved fast.
Okay.
There. But probably like a couple weeks in, it was just like, all right, cool, this is a thing. But then like I made a joke out of it where I'm like, I'm gonna take you on our first date. We never did that. So yeah, then we did this thing, but that's not really a first date. Then I just fucking went all out and did some dumbass bullshit Tim plan because that's what I do.
Yeah.
Kevin helped out. Set up that hotel room. Yeah. It was great.
The first date was a hotel room.
Well, it ended in a hotel.
You
Well,
went
someone
to
had to
dinner.
put the chains and all that, like
Yeah,
whips
he
and
put
shit
a whole
all
bunch
over
of
it.
shit in there.
Oh, they were doing the 50 Shades of Grey thing.
Yeah, you gotta.
That's the thing about Tim Gettys. I'm sorry, Kevin wants to chime
Greg.
in. Yeah.
You ever want to impress the shit out of a girl?
Yeah.
If you ever like,
He's very
hey,
authoritative about this.
Hey,
Yeah.
this is date number, like let's say
Don't
date
matter.
number 5, date number
Don't
whatever.
matter.
But you're like, hey, let's do something awesome. We got you, boy.
We got you.
Ooh, we're gonna
We're
do
real
something
good at that
great.
shit.
Wait, do you have like a plan ready to go? Or
Oh,
is it,
yeah,
okay.
okay.
Yeah.
we've got packages.
Do you want to run me through one of the
we got
packages? Run me
packages.
through one of the packages.
Here's the problem. We can't
That's
run anything
some private
packages
shit.
because it's private shit because then
Yeah,
everybody
well,
knows.
we
Do
use
you know
it,
how many
yeah.
girls are out there that you're going to date one day, Greg Miller?
No.
Probably
2 to
at
3.
least 2 to 3. So I don't want them to hear this and be like, oh, he's doing the tier 2 plan. I thought I was at least a tier
Oh,
1.
good point. I got to save the platinum package.
Yeah.
structures.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, yes.
Jesus.
That's the other funny thing about relationships in this particular relationship with Erin is that like, you know, you just kind of, when you really do care, I think this is where you're at too with Gia. When you really do care, like really, really care and like really, really are into it and really, really like quite
Smitten.
smitten. That's a great word or whatever.
Yeah.
You really do your best for that person no matter what. Like
Yeah.
to like, you know, no boring shit. No, because I'm a very boring person, right? Like I'll sit at home and play fucking Vita
That's exciting.
and
That's
watch
fun.
30 for 30 all day if I could.
Yeah, that sounds
You
like
watched
a
the
great
Allen
night.
Iverson one yet? You
Huh?
watched one about Allen Iverson?
Yeah, I did. I watched that one.
That's
boy.
teed up for me.
The one question I have, I mean, because we've somehow dodged this completely, is I want to hear about Greg's. How many first dates have you been on in your free?
In my life?
No, not in your. I don't even want to know about anything but this post. This
Oh.
new single life.
Okay.
This post
You want the
relationship
new
life.
52, Greg.
Oh, the new 52, where they've rebooted the universe, but I still have Portillo, which I'm always a big
Yeah,
fan of.
yeah,
And
yeah.
Kevin and I are really good friends.
Yeah.
Shit.
You guys go to dinner and shit. It's disturbing.
true. We've gone from like before, like I was
used to hate
Clark
him.
and he was Jimmy Olsen, and like I was like his mentor.
And
but
I
now
quit.
we are new 52, Clark and Jimmy, where we're besties. We're texting each other. We're going out to dinner. How you doing, Kev?
Pretty good. You gonna tell me to turn up the rock and roll?
No, that was Death and
know,
Return.
I
That's
know,
different.
I
That
know.
turn it up. What a stupid thing. You remember this?
No.
You remember this? They kill Superman, right? He comes back, Colin. I'll skip all the cyborgs and all this stuff, right? He comes back. It turns out, Colin, that they had given away his apartment, of course, because Clark Kent they thought was dead. Turned out they lied and just said he was buried under some rubble and he got out fine. Still had all his muscle mass. It was a very interesting way of how that would possibly be a thing. But so Clark has to move in with Jimmy. And so for them to show you that Superman is still hip and young kids, when he comes in to start moving in, Jimmy gets all sad and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'll turn down the music for you, Clark. I was listening to some heavy metal." And Clark goes, "Turn it up, Jimmy." And that was it. That's when people were like, "Holy shit, Superman's on another level."
I was listening to Jimmy Olsen's Blues this morning, by the way. Anyway.
Oh, were you? Pocket Full of Kryptonite. What a great album there.
Spin Doctors, New York City's own.
I've been on one first date so far, and I'm going on another tonight.
Another first date.
Yes.
Exciting.
Yeah.
This is exciting.
Who is the who? So well, not who, but what precipitated the first date?
Damn, precipitated.
And then what precipitated
Big fan.
the second?
Why you hold
First
that thing
date.
like it's coming at you?
Okay. Whoa.
No.
Oh, that's gonna hurt your teeth.
Oh,
No.
don't.
I can't even look at that. I can't even look at that. It's lead.
Yeah, it's lead.
What precipitated the first date? I had met her at a friend's gathering.
Good first step.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, "You're cool," and she's like, "You're cool." And then we didn't talk for a while, and then Instagram DM hit off a conversation. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like.
But no,
it
but
wasn't like.
was.
It wasn't like a Tim
was.
DM conversation.
No, it was.
Did you DM
That's
her a
the
picture
point.
of your
No,
2-inch
that's the whole
penis?
point. Is what I'm saying.
That's not what I do.
Do you,
You just
when
slide.
you meet a woman, do you immediately tell her they have a small dick so she doesn't get disappointed
I
later?
like to set the bar low, kind of funny. We just set it at low expectations, and then if they ever see it, like, oh, this isn't
and then
that
you have to
bad.
go when you get, and then when you're about to have sex, you have to go through,
Small
you have to go through your drawer and you're like,
Let me get the baby condoms.
can't find them here.
I got the jeweler eye out.
Yeah.
I got the jeweler eye out. Huh?
Shut up, Kevin. How's that for a microphone?
What was that? Oh, you weren't using the microphone? I gotcha.
I can hear him. That's all that matters.
And then a similar thing with the second first date, just somebody I've met before, and now that we're both single.
So what is your expectation of the date tonight? And I don't mean sexually. I just
Every
mean,
first date, I expect to marry that person.
You think so?
Yeah, if I like him enough to date, no, I don't expect I'll marry him every time I go on.
I believed you.
Because I mean,
I got those Midwest values.
I always sort of went into all my first dates hoping that it would play out like you like the person so much you don't want it to end, right? And so
Sure.
you do that thing where you keep finding things to do. Like she's like, I guess it's getting late. You're like, yeah, I mean, I could go for more drink if you want. Oh, let's go for another coffee.
Sure.
Whatever, dessert, the yada yada yada. Anything to kind of hang out with
You
each other a
pull
little bit
over
longer.
in front of her house and you like try to find a reason to talk, and then 4 hours later you're still parked in front of her house. She
Yeah,
hasn't
exactly
got out yet.
right.
That's the
the
weird thing
best.
about being adults in San Francisco, just not having a car. You guys
You're
have
doing it
cars,
wrong.
I guess.
You walk.
But
You
just like
gotta walk.
I remember that like in high school, going out on dates or whatever, and like you pick somebody up and you're like outside psyching yourself up, and you get out of the car and walk to the house, bring it back, and then like a little bit in college, but it was like all right, see you at your dorm or whatever, and like then yeah. Now, I mean, I'm brand new to being single, just meeting people. But I mean, the last round of singlehood, when I was an adult person, same thing of just meeting people's places.
It's the same general concept, right? Though I mean, like you're still trying to figure out, like you're still picking her up potentially, unless
Yeah.
you're meeting her there. But
You gonna get that Uber black car?
yeah, get that Uber black car. Go pick her
Oh
up.
no,
that Uber
I'm meeting people. I'm
Get that
meeting-
Uber
I'm
black
meeting-
car?
You
yeah.
don't, you don't pick people up in an Uber.
Get an Uber
is
XL
that?
Pick it up.
black car.
I want like a giant
Limo.
stretch limo that when you go into it's like a prom limo. And it's like a one bottle of really shitty
I mean like the
bourbon.
ruffled tux. I got
No,
a corsage.
go in the other direction and show that you're an everyman. Uber
pool. Hey,
that
caller, I'm gonna drop the pin right now. Can you do the same thing? We'll try to get in the same pool.
Love it. See, no, that's where it's at though. I'm a big
hilarious.
fan of the like let them figure it out. They're empowered people. They'll do their thing. They'll meet you where you're going, unless you have a car. Then pick them up.
See, the
'cause they're
problem
grown-ass
is
men.
this though. Like the car was genius because the car got you one step closer to being inside the house or the apartment.
I thought you were gonna go somewhere else with that.
No. Or you could. I mean, you could do stuff in the car too,
Yeah.
right?
Got you
And I'm
one
not,
step
saying,
closer to being
I'm not a
inside.
strong advocate of sex on the first date. I've only done it a handful of times. It tends to result in marriage.
After all that Indian food,
There's a lot of booze
a
involved.
spicy
as well.
meatball.
No, but I'm not a huge advocate of of having sex on the first date. I think it kind of can complicate things, right? There's a lot of feelings and emotions that you're having. Having said that, though, if that is your goal needs to be getting close to some place where you can do that. And sometimes it's easier to do that with a car than it is with an Uber because you have to define it, right? Like, hey, where are we going next? I guess I'll order an Uber. Do I need to order an Uber too? Or are we Ubering to the same place, which is my pants?
Whoa!
Is that happening? Does the Uber driver have to drop a pin in there, or can they just see the flagpole from 20 yards out?
Uber pool.
Uber
Getting
pool.
whoever's welcome.
I do recommend an Uber pool though, because how fun would that conversation be?
No,
Like,
that's
we're on a first
fantastic.
date. This is
No.
hilarious.
Yeah.
That's
get some
horrible.
weird
That
ass-
awesome.
No, that's awesome.
every date you get the Uber up from there. So you start with Uber pool, and then you go like Uber. You go Uber, just
regular
Uber X, and then
X,
Uber
yeah.
like whatever the fuck
Taxi.
it is.
They got Uber taxi.
Uber taxi, yeah, and then you got
Then black car.
Then you call then you like fucking call an audible and you get on in a Lyft one date. Then you go back to Uber and you get in the Uber, XL and the Uber Black. I like that. Just a war of escalation.
Right.
I like that too.
Thank God you're done. Thank God you're off the market.
For everyone involved. Thank
Everyone
God.
across the board.